me to try?
Yeah.
Is this still recording?
Yeah.
You're still recording?
I'll delete all this if you want, and we can just do a clean cut whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Or I can throw this out at the end.
Or you could just throw this at the beginning. Who knows? I don't even know. So this is Meet the Pen Names Memory Lane May. I'm MrBenzedrine. I have with me my husband, MrBenzedrine.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. No, that's fine. It's okay.
That's you. And the reason why I have him on this podcast today is because I tried recording myself, and I am awkward as shit by myself. And so I figured, why not be awkward as shit with my husband and let everyone get to know how awkward we are together and obnoxiously adorable.
Because we are.
We are. We've had lots of people tell us how obnoxiously cute and sweet and ideal we are, and then we just laugh it off because we're like, sure, that's what it is.
Haha, suckers, they're all believing it.
Got them believing it. But so, yeah, basically this is checking back. I had my Meet the Pen name back in 2016 when Granger Enchanted asked me to do it. I didn't even know there was like fan fiction, like groups by that point. I just was writing my own fan fiction. I thought fanfiction.net and Archive of Our Own was basically it. I didn't know that there was like groups. And then I got a message in my inbox that was like, hey, would you like to be interviewed? And I was like, what? People know me? I don't know what that's like. This feels weird talking about myself.
It's okay. That's what we're here for.
Is it?
Yes.
It's so weird. But so then I got the interview questions, and back then they basically just did written interviews, and then they made some pretty manipulation photos, like cover photos for your art. Mm-hmm. So I remember, I think Stephanie was running it at that point, and Brittany was still doing manips, and this is way before I ever became an admin of Granger Enchanted. And so I didn't ever actually plan on being interviewed, but we had to back out at the last moment, which is totally understandable. Things happen. So I was like, all right, I'll just throw myself into the mix. And then I tried to record myself on my own, and it was the most awkward shit of my life.
Where are your priorities of the person who backed out? Like, how is this not top number one? You're going to tell me they had a death in the family.
No, they didn't have a death in the family. They were like, oh, I haven't been writing in a while, and I feel like it's awkward to talk about myself if I haven't been writing in a while.
You have no idea what that's like.
No.
It's awkward to talk about yourself.
I know, right? But they were really nice about it, and they were all apologetic. I was like, no, it's fine, it's no big deal. I kind of reserved myself for that just in case something like that happened, and it did. And I didn't want to inconvenience anyone else last moment, because it's really hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why I'm here. My Meet the Pen Name experience was awesome, and I got to know the girls. And then I don't remember how long it was after that. They asked me if I wanted to be an admin, which really floored me because I had no idea that they liked me that much. I have no idea when anybody ever likes me.
Bet that makes you feel special.
It did make me feel special. And so, he just took a sip of his McDonald's drink, but it wasn't his McDonald's drink. It was mine, and he hates Diet Coke.
I got you regular Coke.
Oh, is it regular Coke?
Regular Coke.
That's how little I can tell the difference. But I guess I'm just... Yeah, my taste buds don't work right because I can't tell the difference between Diet Coke and regular Coke. I guess if you sat them next to me one by one, I'd be able to tell, but... I
was hoping for some delicious McDonald's Southern sweet tea, and I got man. Coke, which I like Coke, but it's watered down, lukewarm Coke.
Yeah, and the air conditioner in our house is broken right now, so it's like fucking 80 degrees in this house. And we can't run the fans because it picks up on the microphones. So we're just having a heck of a time tonight.
I'm right under the ceiling fan in the living room. It's my only solace.
And I have wine in a no-spill wine cup, which is pretty awesome. So there's that.
That's how you know you're fancy in Arkansas, when you have a no-spill wine cup.
Yeah. Just tell everyone where we live.
Well, we live in...
No. So, yeah. what I'm going to do, since I'm awkward at interviewing myself, as I think most people should be, I've asked my husband, who is a seasoned podcaster, to come in and interview me, simply because I feel like it's really good to still asking myself questions and then answering them. And also looking at somebody who I love is a lot better than just looking at myself, because I hate myself.
Don't hate yourself, because I love you.
Blech.
No.
Oh, you have bad taste.
I do not.
You do.
I do not. It's bullshit. I do not.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
All right, well,
All right.
go for
Ready?
it. No.
Okay. Well, what have you been up to since your Meet the Pen Name experience?
Shit, that was in 2016. So, I think we were married by then. We were already married when I got my Meet the Pen Name experience, I believe, because it was when I almost finished How to Train Your Oar, or was just finishing it up, the first one, and I believe it happened. We'd moved into the house just recently, so that was cool. So not much has been going on in my life. Still doing teaching for preschoolers. I opened up the fish rescue.
Yeah.
Which was interesting this last few months. Back in February, I looked at you and said, I want to start a fish rescue.
Yeah, let's go back a little farther than that. You were like, it'd be nice if, like, maybe I would like to, like, one day open up a fish rescue. And I was like, yeah, that'd be nice. And I meant that. I meant it. And I was like, yeah, that would be nice. Okay. And then you were like, hey, by the way, I really want to do this. This is like maybe a month later. You're like, I really want to do it. I'm really going to do it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I already bought some tanks from some people off Craigslist and off Facebook.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, we're actually doing it. Okay, well, all right.
I made a Facebook page. Yeah, it just kind of blew up from there. So that's like the most interesting thing in my life, I guess, in the past 2 years, besides being a mom and a wife, which I think I'm all right at sometimes.
Mm-hmm. We got a bunny.
We got 2 bunnies.
2 bunnies.
We got 2 bunnies. We rescued a shit ton of fish. I've been trying to finish A Dandy World, which is my original novel. And it's kind of been on hiatus because there was a point, about 6 months ago, where I just couldn't write shit. I think it was actually, which most of my followers know about, the miscarriage that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like right after there, and I just like couldn't write to save my life. So most of my work suffered. I'm surprised people still like me. I don't know why people like me, but you know.
Because you're a good person.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Hey there, jerkwads. You're a good person.
Hey there, fuckwads. I'm a good person.
Oh, we can swear on here? Okay.
Yeah, you can swear on here.
Okay, good.
Shit, fuck, damn, hell, cock, suck a bitch.
Balls.
I think mine were worse.
Balls.
Like when you were telling our son, like at the Petco store, when you were looking at the rats with balls.
Oh, yeah. So we're at Petco, and we're looking at the rats our son is 6. He wants to look at the animals. All right, we'll look at them. And this one rat had huge balls. I did not know rat balls were this big. And I never had a pet rat. Huge balls. And he's like, what are those things hanging down? And I was like, those are his testicles.
By the way, he's 6.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to bullshit him. Just tell him what it is. Oh, those are testicles. And he was like, testicles? I'm like, those are his balls. And he was like, oh, okay. Like, oh, he knows what I'm talking about when I say that.
This is the same kid who also moons us whenever he's in the bathtub because he finds it hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, butts are funny.
I guess.
Especially if you're 6.
Especially if you're 6. That's true. So, I mean, other than like real life happening, I don't know. I haven't really been up too much. I joined the admin team at Granger Enchanted. I joined as a moderator on Strictly Dramione. Just been writing. I started art, which became a whole big fiasco thing, which there's a question in there that I'm sure I'll answer that later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically what I've been up to. Not shit.
Just life. Oh boy.
Just life. Isn't that crazy how that happens?
I know. See, well, what are you writing right now?
Let's see. I'm writing Tango, which you have not read. You've read the How to Train Your Aura series.
Mm-hmm.
And like a couple of one-shots.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Read Bond.
You read Bond.
I read Bond.
Why does that come up in your mind when we're having this
Because
moment
I know
here?
it would make you feel weird.
It really, I feel like I'm blushing. I don't know if I am, but I feel like it. So way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go. We'll just tuck that into a little pocket and save it for later. You have read Bond.
Mm-hmm. I haven't read every single one of your stories, but my favorite ones that I've read is the How to Train Your Aura series. When I try to talk about How to Train Your Dragon, I instinctively still want to say How to Train Your Aura.
That's good.
I really like that series. Like I don't know how, but you could totally adapt that into an original work. I would love that.
I feel like that's like my biggest baby that I've ever created, and I'm on like the third installment, and I'm taking it slow.
What's your biggest one? Is Sex Ed your biggest one?
Sex Ed is like my biggest.
Like most popular. Most
read. Yeah. I don't know why. Yeah, probably because it's smutty. It's really smutty, but it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
There's a joke in there at one point, which you haven't read, but I think I read it to you, where they're trying to teach about what a taint is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And one kid goes, well, it taint the pussy and it taint the ass, or something like that. And I remember after writing that, I blushed so hard for 5 straight minutes. And I was like, what did I do? I'm 5. No, I'm 13, because 5-year-olds don't know what a taint is. But I don't know. Like, that's my biggest work, and that's what's in it. So I don't know why. I felt like Tango, when I first started writing it, was going to be the next Sex Ed.
Mm-hmm.
As I've gotten more into it, I feel like it's big, but it's not like, I don't know. I feel like I put a lot more personal stuff into it than I ever did Sex Ed. Now, Sex Ed was a prompt from Light of Evolution, which I absolutely adore, and I would never had my name on the map had it not been for her, because she pushed me and she always believed in me, and she gave me this amazing, plot bunny.
Yeah.
And there it was. But with Tango, I remember, I think I was texting Vivian, which is Waymay, and I think I was telling her about Tango, and she goes, I don't know if that's going to be interesting or not. And I was like, all right, challenge accepted.
She's like, I didn't challenge you. Challenge accepted.
Because I'm a fucking Gryffindor. And right now that has like the most reviews I've ever gotten, which still fucking surprises me. But I mean, I don't know if people are enjoying it as much as Sex Ed. I feel like that's where people know me from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also doing the Rewrite the Stars, which is The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that movie. They're making it into a play now, by the way. Yep, they're going to make it into a theatrical production, which we are going.
Sure.
going. So, like, I'm working on that, and that's so not popular. Like, hardly anyone's reading it.
I mean, I love the premise, but I think that one's going to have, like, a very niche audience, and that's perfectly fine. Like, that's totally where I think that one could totally live and be fine.
Because, like, I don't...
It's like, you like Harry Potter? Of course, that's why you're reading these fan fictions. But, like, do you also like The Greatest Showman, which is a really great movie, and if nobody's seen it, if you like musicals, you need to go see it. Even if you don't like musicals, go watch it. It's really good.
It really is.
And it's Hugh Jackman. That's all you need to know. Hugh Jackman's in this movie.
No. Take it back. Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron. That's all you need to know.
That's true.
Just don't skip out on Zac. Otherwise, Amanda, which is London's Legend, is going to kick your ass, because that's like her guy.
Okay.
That's her sexy man.
I gotcha.
Meanwhile, Hugh Jackman is like my heartthrob.
And everybody else is?
Actually, everybody else is a Zac Efron.
Over Hugh Jackman?
Yeah.
Over Hugh Jackman?
Because as sad as it makes me say it, he's getting older, and I like a fine wine. Everybody else wants the fresh soda, fresh out of the pop machine.
I don't even like wine, but Hugh Jackman.
Is a nice.
He's on my list of dudes that make me question myself. And I don't mind that.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the things I'm working on besides the third installment of How to Train Your Oar, which will be the last installment. And after that, I don't feel like I want to continue it because I feel like 3 is enough.
Yeah.
3 is enough. I want to finish the Jameson Chronicles, which is that little spin-off series.
Yeah, I was about to say, you still got that
I still have that, and then that's it. That's what I want to... And then after I finish these, I kind of want to, like, take a step back from fan fiction for a little bit and finish my original writing. Like, I'll still do one-shots and keep working on stuff, but I really want to finish and get a novel published. That's, like, my biggest thing.
Yeah.
So... I took way too long on that question.
No, that's all right. Let's see. Well, what do you think about your writing style development between your Meet the Pen Name interview and now?
Oh my God, I was shit. I didn't know where to put a fucking comma. I had no idea how to use a semicolon. I used hads and that's and all these terrible things. If it wasn't for Waymay, if it wasn't for Light of Evolution, London's Legend, and my original beta, which was Miss Pancake, I would be like the shittiest writer alive. Because what I thought was good was mediocre. I feel like I went back and I fixed a lot of How to Train Your Oar, but I feel like if I go back too much, then I can't show how I progressed.
Right. You don't want to George Lucas it.
Oh God, no! I don't want to CGI in everything and then make Han,
not shoot. You want to make Greedo shoot first?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like no. So there you go. I've lost my train of thought, but yeah.
Your writing progression, and you were giving all the thanks to.
There you go. This is what happens when I have wine and it's 9:15 at night and I should be going to bed.
You said your first beta, was that the one from Australia?
Yeah. I don't know what happened. We just kind of fell out of contact with each other, which makes me really
that happens
sad.
when you're like 19 hours difference.
I know. I have friends in Australia, though. I have Sammy, which is Griffin the Game, and I have friends all over the world, but we just, at that time, I didn't know about Facebook stuff. So we only contacted each other through Google Docs and through fanfiction.net. I've never known who Miss Pancake was. But she was the first one to tell me that when you end a quote, you don't put a period, you put a comma. And I was like, oh, my bad.
So you're like, maybe it's just your accent.
Oh God, she'd kill me. No. And then it was Waymay who came along and was like, you use a lot of hads and that's, and that is shitty. Stop doing that. And then, Amanda, London's Legend, just came along and was like, this wording is just really weird. Why are you wording it this way? I love you, but why are you wording it this way? And I'd be like, I don't know why I'm wording it this way.
Because I am a writer.
90% of writing is thinking about writing and then not writing.
Yeah.
That is the epitome of writing in general. I feel like if I actually sat down with like a famous author, they'd be like, yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. So yeah, I feel like my old writing was really shitty, and I feel like I've gotten way better as I've progressed. But there's always room for improvement. So I'm sure like 2 years from now, I'm going to look back and go, oh my God, what was I writing? It's so bad.
Jim Butcher, the writer of the Dresden Files and the Codex Alera, went to a signing of his one time, and he said, or a person asked him, they were like, oh, I'm trying to write my own thing when I'm having writer's block. How do you get past it? And he was like, oh, well, my kid needs to go to college.
True.
So that's how I get past it.
That is like 100% the truth. Like, you just go, you gotta, oh my gosh. So like lately my work's been picking up, with the kids and with just everything. Mm-hmm. And then we got this fish rescue. So I've been really working on that. But, I make myself sit down and write at least 30 minutes a day. I put on a timer. And if I stop doing what I'm writing, then I stop the timer. Because I'm like, if you don't write today, then you just don't write, and then you get nothing done, and then you wonder why you're shit.
Right. It just becomes like a snowball of not writing.
Right, exactly. Because I'll be like, I'll do that after lunch. I'll do that when Chris gets off work, and then you get off work, and then I'm like, my husband's here. I don't have time for writing. So I force myself to write. Usually 30 minutes turns into an hour. And sometimes I might not even get 500 words out, but I thought about those 500 words.
Right.
So I think that's really important.
Well, what advice would you have given a younger you if you had the experience you do now?
You know, when I wrote this question, I didn't know if I meant for fan fiction or if I meant in general.
You were like, when I wrote this question, I didn't think I'd have to answer it, so I don't have an answer now.
For the record, I didn't think I'd have to answer it. So you tell me, am I talking about in my writing or am I talking about in real life in general?
Well, I would assume just since this is about writing fan fiction that this would be about writing.
Okay. I would tell myself that it's okay if you can't word that day. That time that I had, even just like 6-8 months ago where I couldn't write anything, I was really beating myself up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, the words aren't coming and people are going to be disappointed. I'm letting a lot of people down. And I eventually realized that no matter what, people are going to be there for you. If you just explain the situation, they'll have the patience. If the story's good enough, they will come back for it. So I would have told myself not to get so discouraged when I couldn't write because either of depression or anxiety or anything like that. It'll be okay. You can get through it. You just have to get through that conflict in your life first because real life comes first before words can come. I think that's the most important thing. Mm-hmm. If you are facing battles in your real life, a lot of times the best thing to do is write it down, but sometimes the words won't come because it's just too hard to face at that moment. So, yeah, that's what I would have told myself is to quit worrying about the fact that you couldn't write anything at that time. Just know that the words will come back.
So, if you had told that self to your younger self, would your younger self have listened?
I probably would have, argued at the point. I probably would have been like, that's not how it works. You have to keep pushing through, and you have to, but, it was 2 months, I think, where I just stopped writing completely. And I thought, oh, my God, will I ever write again? What's wrong with me? So if I had come back to myself and been like, you will write again, I'd probably been like, no, I won't. Everything is horrible and you don't know what you're talking about, even though you're from the future.
And you've literally been through this shit.
Yeah. Also, I think I would have told myself, don't eat so fucking much and go exercise. Other than that, though, yeah, that's the advice I would have given myself.
See, what's a positive review that's always stuck with you?
There's a couple. They're mainly from How to Train Your Oar, which is kind of funny because you wouldn't think that I have all these other fics, but there's this one. It wasn't even a review. It was a private message in my fan fiction inbox about this girl who was laid up in the hospital, and I don't remember what she was suffering from, but she was in there for a while. And she said the How to Train Your Oar series, the first one was her get out of jail free card for being in the hospital. She was able to just kind of push through all of what she was going through internally. There was another girl that had just recently lost a loved one. And she said that spoilers, it's in the first chapter, so no big spoilers. Ron dies in the first chapter of How to Train Your Oar, and she said that, reading about Hermione going through death and overcoming it, that really helped her kind of, put a perspective on everything. I think we've all lost somebody in our lives, and you lost somebody recently. You lost your grandma. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things where if somebody ever writes me or reviews me and says that I have affected their life somehow or helped them get through something, those are the reviews that stick with me the most. I appreciate, yay, write more. Like, I appreciate every single review, even, the most spectacularly evil ones that are just out to troll. But
even the Instagram page is dedicated.
oh, it's not Instagram,
assholes.
it's Tumblr.
Oh, Tumblr, yeah.
Tumblr, yeah.
That's what I meant.
But no, I do appreciate those, but I think the ones that, so it's not just any one particular, it's just the accumulative of everyone who said that I have touched their life some way or helped them get over a situation. That always pushes me through to keep writing, because I'm like, JK saved my life, because I told you this story about when I was in camp when I was a kid, and I got eaten up by chiggers all up and down my legs.
Yeah.
And it's so weird staring at your eyes this entire time that we're talking. We never stared at each other this long. Like, hi.
Hi.
You have very beautiful eyes.
Thank you. You too.
Oh, God. No, you're a liar.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, huh?
No,
you know,
one of us is a fucking liar.
I was about to say. No, but so I was eaten up with chiggers and I couldn't walk. My legs were literally numb. And, one of my campmates walked in and was like, I have this Harry Potter book, which was the fourth one. It was Goblet of Fire. And she was like, this is the only one I have with me, but if you want to read it. And that's how I got into Harry Potter. And it literally saved me for that camp experience. If I didn't have a Harry Potter book, I would have been so miserable, because I didn't think to bring a book.
Right.
And
well, you didn't think you weren't going to be able to walk.
Right. And I was already going through homesickness and stuff, so J.K. Rowling actually saved my life at that point. And then Harry Potter's been a fallback for me of how to treat people and a reminder of being different is okay. And so that's like, when I hear that I've done that to somebody else, just really touches me, and it makes me almost cry. But you will never see it, because I do not cry ever.
Never.
That's a lie.
That's a lie. You did have a tea the other day.
I didn't pay.
Oh, yeah. So what's your opinion on people file sharing your works?
Okay. Here we go. Chris, you're about to get a little history in what this means. Do you know what this means?
Yeah, vaguely. Also, this seems like a big topic. What's your opinion on abortion?
Oh, God. If this is about... sorry, this is going to be a bad joke. This is about as serious as that in the fan fiction world. But it's not. Don't get started on the abortion topic. People will flip out either way. So let's just move on.
But seriously, this is big, guys.
No, hey, listen. I do not want people to stop listening in because we start talking about controversial subjects. I mean, this topic is already going to be controversial enough. So you know what file sharing is?
Yeah.
All right, tell me what it is. Let's see if you know.
It's where you share a file.
I am literally drop my head in shame.
It's so like a writer has their works and then they take it down, but people have downloaded that.
Yes.
And so it's where the people who've downloaded the work give it to other people to read.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really see...
Is it specifically that scenario where the writers
specifically that scenario.
The writer's been taking it down?
Because there are a lot of times where people download a fan fiction so they can take it offline, so they can like read it on their tablet. So that's why that file downloading system is there. Mm-hmm. It's like renting a book.
Right. No, it makes sense.
So that's from your library. You're renting a book. The way I always like to kind of word it to people is you rented that book from the library. That does not give you the right to then go and give that book to somebody else. That book was entrusted to you and you alone. And like that's something that like I've never taken down one of my works. Mm-hmm. So in particular, this doesn't affect me as much, because I'm sure people download my stuff all the time. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe they don't. But like for, mm-hmm. commutes and stuff like that. Right. That's what I mean. I'm not saying everybody's downloading my book. But,
no, I know what you're saying.
So with that in mind, I've seen a lot of people who have literally deleted all of their works because they're like, I'm sick and tired of people file sharing. I think if you're going to do it, you should ask the author first. A lot of people are like, well, it's on the internet, so it's now ours. And while that is slightly true, the that's still a writer's words. And a lot of times, this is also a controversial subject, writers will take down those works, revamp the plot. Doesn't mean take the characters and all the words, but take the plot and make it into original work, like the Mortal Instruments series. Cassandra Clare did that. It was originally a Draco Ginny thing, which I have yet to read. But
can you find that
if you want to file share.
Gotcha.
So that's the reason I don't do it. But so there's like, people take down those things for a reason, whether it's personal. Maybe I heard about one girl who took down a work because it was too personal for her. I guess the loved one had died or something like that, and it was just too personal. A lot of people take down their works because they want to make them originals. And what people don't know is that publishing companies, if they find out that those floaters are floating around and getting shared around, they won't publish your book because they're like, no, somebody else could take it and claim it, or claim that they have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it actually affects like an author a lot. Now, me personally, I don't think I'd want to do that just because it's too tedious to go back and revamp an entire story.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I have thought about like taking certain plot points and like putting it in some of my, original stuff. Mm-hmm. Not to the extent of taking the Harry Potter universe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the point is that file sharing should not be done, in my personal opinion, unless you have the author's express permission. And it's usually really easy. You usually can find them on a Tumblr or their fan fiction or whatever, and you can just ask them. And most of the time, they'll be like, yeah, I've got a copy of this work that I've taken down. Here you go. I don't think it's okay to just be like, well, it belongs to me now, and therefore it's just about respect. Like, fucking respect the author's wishes. If the author says it's fine to file share my work, fine, go right ahead. But if the author is like, I don't want that, that's part of my life, I want closed, then you should respect that. There are way too many stories out there on the internet to not respect that. Like, it's just not okay. It's like taking a library book that you have personally gotten and then going and Xeroxing it and then giving that print to your friend. That's not okay.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
that's basically like copying a CD and then giving it to your friend.
Right.
Which I totally didn't do in high school or get any in high school that way. Not at all. Never.
For the record, I didn't do that much. Like, that was one thing I didn't do because I'm going to sound like such a stuck-up snob. I respected the artist's works, and I wanted to buy their works so they would get the money.
And I would have done that in high school if I had money. And that's all it comes down to. It's like, look, I want to support you, but I also want to listen to your music.
Yeah. Nowadays, you have YouTube, and you can just do that. Exactly. And they want you to.
Right. It's kind of gone the other way.
Yeah. Of course, they get paid for views now, so it helps.
Yeah.
But so, just my personal opinion, don't fucking do it unless the author says it's okay. And if the author says it isn't okay, don't fucking do it, because then you're a douchebag who doesn't respect an author. And I know that is really harsh, but that's my personal opinion on the matter.
All right, now on to gun control.
Oh, gosh. Don't even get me started.
All right, so do you have any advice you'd like to share for other writers about gun control?
The advice that I would give, which I've given to so many writers, it gets redundant, but I'll say it again. Don't write for the reviews. Write for yourself. If you are writing simply to get acknowledgement and reviews and views and keeping up with your stats, you will never be happy because it'll never be enough. I can't remember the last time that I actually like I read every review that I get because it comes in my email, but I can't remember the last time I actually checked my stats. Maybe it was like 2 months ago, maybe, and I just went in on fanfiction and was like, how busy are my stories lately, because I haven't updated in a while. And but I don't really care how much traffic I get, because if you like it, you'll come back. And if you don't like it, then you probably shouldn't be reading it, and the story isn't for you. I don't want to try to impress people. Like, I'm not out for the fame or the fortune. I'm just trying to save a life. If that doesn't sound too cliche.
Right. No, I got you. Well, that's the thing about just art in general. If you try to do it for people.
Right. And that's not to say you can't be proud of your work.
Right, exactly.
Because you worked really fucking hard on it. You can be proud. Like, promote that shit. I'm a big supporter in promoting your work because you worked hard on it. But if, like, for Rewrite the Stars, I'm not getting a big turnout, but I'm not super disappointed in it. I'm on 2 chapters in. The second chapter, it took over 24 hours for the first review to show up on the second chapter. That's okay with me, but I was like, oh, damn. Because usually, like, I at least get one, within the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. But the review that I did get was, like, really sweet, And I think that makes up for quantity. I think quality is way more important. So quit trying to impress people and just write something that you enjoy and try to have a message for it, because I think that's the best way if you want to get people's attention, is how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I sound like a pretentious little shit, let's move on to the next question.
With your fancy no-spill wine glass.
I do have a no-spill wine glass because I will spill it. I almost spilled it as we were setting up.
Technically, it's spilled. There's some
just a little. It would have spilled the whole thing. It worked. Yeah. Its purpose is complete. And this wine is delicious.
All right. Well, this next question is a loaded one. Have you ever been trolled by someone in the fan fiction community? It's a no. We'll just go on. If so, how did you react, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, flexing my fingers on this one. Let me crack my neck. Okay. How do we want to...
I'm just going to go pee. I'll be back.
No. Never. Me?
No.
I've never been the source of ridicule.
No.
Okay, so most people probably know by now, and those that don't know, congratulations. You are saints because you have stayed out of the trauma, and I'm very proud of you. Don't listen to this part then. So I've been getting messages in my inbox 6, 8, 10 months ago. Started coming in that said I was a cunt. I don't like saying that word very often, so I'm not going to say it here. I think that word is just... That's like, I can say all the other cuss words, but that one is just like so low. I'm just like, nah.
Unless you're British, and then it's your best friend.
I'm not British though, so it's not fun. But so I got a lot of those in there. And for the record, I got a friendly troll, which is Jeremy Crawford, which is a guy that keeps writing in to everyone. If you're even like slightly on the board on fan fiction, he writes in and wants you to write him and like a famous celebrity fan fiction, and then if you say no, he's like, well, fuck you.
Oh, that dude.
I
remember that. You were telling me about that dude.
Every time he wrote me like 2 months ago, and I was like, Jeremy, where have you been? It's been ages. And he never replied back to that. I loved it. I was like, I've been waiting for you all this time, Jeremy.
He's like, shit, she remembered me.
I remembered in the first 3 times he tried to write me. No, but so there, after getting called the C word a couple of times, that wasn't enough. So there was a Tumblr blog dedicated to hating on me. There was the first one. This is before the second one. It was the first one. I don't really remember what happened to it. It just kind of faded away, so I guess they didn't get what they wanted. So they came out with a second one and tried to say that I traced all my art, which he didn't, just because I happen to be very good at scaling and doing what I do, which I'm really good at what I call chameleon art, which is looking at something and then being able to draw that something. I've always been that way. I've always been really good at chameleon art. So that in that sense, I always have references because I'm shit without references. But that doesn't mean I trace it. But they tried to like spread this big rumor that I did that and that I was... So I started the Granger Enchanted awards, right? Because I thought that was like a really cool thing. And all of us admins and moderators, we worked really hard on those award ceremonies. And they tried to accuse us of cheating and like rigging it. And I didn't know like at that time that I was going to win stuff. So I didn't think about like taking myself out of the awards. It just wasn't something that came up. And I won a shit ton of stuff. And so the next award ceremony came up and they were like, oh yeah, you know they're going to cheat. Or basically it was really stupid. So I took myself out. I was like, I don't care. I don't need this. But like, so it kept on going, this Tumblr blog. And then they tried to attack some other fan fiction writers. And nothing's come of this blog. Like they're, I've noticed that they kind of fallen off the face of the planet.
Good. You haven't mentioned them
Oh
in a
no,
while.
they tried to attack another person that's really known in the fan fiction community, and that flopped. Like they're just flopping all over the place, and they're probably listening right now for all I know. They are seriously so about. I will never forget this. So I made a quote from Fall Out Boy, which my pen name comes from a Fall Out Boy reference.
Yeah.
So I made a quote from the Champion thing, which was, and I'm back with the madness. I'm a champion of the people who don't believe in champions. And that's the line. And I love that line. So I put that on my MrBenzedrine blog. And they literally quoted that and was like, they took it seriously and were like, oh, you're a champion for people who don't even believe in you. And I was like, that's a Fall Out Boy quote, dude. Like, that has nothing to do with me personally. But whatever, you keep on about that. So it hurt at first. Like, I'm not going to lie, trolls hurt. But I think I've come out better for it. I used to be like really sensitive to every single thing that came in, and I'd post it up on my MrBenzedrine blog when I get like a really, really shitty review.
Yeah.
And now I'm just kind of like, if it's really hilarious, like if it's just like the stupidest thing I've ever seen, then I'll maybe post it up and laugh about it. But most of the time I just like delete them now. I used to like was a firm believer in do not delete your reviews because gives you more stats, whatever. And they look like a jackass. But now I'm just kind of like take care of your mental health because you know this, I suffer from depression and high anxiety. And even though I've said this before to you several times, and I've even cried in a bathtub over it, is that like when people don't know you but they judge you, it's really hard. Like, first year of being MrBenzedrine and blowing up on the internet really rocked my world because before, like, nobody really listened to me. Like, back when I was a teenager, I had a really huge pen name, but I don't tell people who I was then because it's just weird. I don't want people to see my terrible grammatical choices.
Could somebody still find it?
Yes.
If they knew where to look?
Yes. They will never know. They will never know. They will not.
They will not.
But, so, you know, when I became bigger as MrBenzedrine, I had a lot of people coming out of the woodwork calling me all kinds of names, and they'd never spoken to me in their entire life. Like, they never once, like, a lot of people jump to conclusions and they hear rumors and they're like, oh, that must be true. But no one comes to me and goes, is this true? What's wrong? Like, why is this person saying this about you? And if people did that more often, I think everyone would be happier and healthier, but nobody actually fucking does it. So
that's the internet.
That's the internet. So I think I've gotten a tougher skin, but mainly I just laugh at it now because I'm like, they are so desperate to get my attention that they will say anything to do it.
Yeah.
I guess that's like the ultimate fangirl, but in the opposite sense. Like, they hate me so much. Yeah. Like, they don't even realize that they've become a fangirl. Like, following me and watching everything that I do, that's a fangirl. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, you've become a fangirl. If you don't like me, just click the backspace button and ignore me or block me. I don't care. Like, I'm not writing this to impress you or to make you feel better. This is obviously for somebody else. This is obviously to touch somebody else's life. Because if you hate me, walk away, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it took a lot of learning. Like, at first I'd get really angry at those. And now I just look at them and go, oh, look, they're back. Oh, isn't that cute?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, friend.
Oh, friend.
Oh, asshole.
Oh, asshole. Welcome back. Oh, you Our dog jumped up. She's like, yes, you're talking to me.
You're talking in a cutesy voice. That means you must be talking to me.
Oh, Yuffie. Oh. But, yeah, so just ignore the trolls. Laugh at them. Delete them if they're too bad. Focus on your mental health. It's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm a firm believer in I will not delete a work just because somebody doesn't like it. A lot of people will do that, and that's okay. That's their mental health.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's kind of like my Gryffindor spirit is like, no, fuck you. You know what? I'm going to make it like 10 times worse. I'm going to make it so fluffy that your eyes are going to bulge out, and I'm going to make it so fluffy. Like, if they hate fluff, they're like, this is too fluffy. I'm going to make it extra fluffy for you.
Shove it down your damn throat. I'm going to increase the font. Make it huge. I'm going to make it wingdings, you asshole.
Oh, God. I can't even read that.
Nobody can.
If you can read that, you might be Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, really. All right. How do you imagine Hermione?
Okay, continue. Finish the question.
Is she like Emma Watson, or is she like a person of color?
All right, there you go. You got to finish the question. So beautiful. You're my host. You're supposed to be able to finish the questions.
I took some liberties and just asked you the question. How did you picture her? I didn't want to prompt you. But you think as though you're the one who wrote the questions, didn't fucking matter.
Yeah, because I knew exactly what was on that page.
Right.
So more often than not, I do see her as like a person of color. Now, it's not necessarily like black or whatever. It's just I like to imagine her with darker skin tones. I think I just think that we didn't get much of a description from her
On purpose.
Yeah. And I just think the contrast, you know, with Draco being so pale and so whatever, just the contrast just in my mind says a lot about their dynamic, not because, different races or anything, but just like, you know, how different they are. Now, Emma Watson did an amazing job as Hermione Granger. And a lot of times I will still picture her as her. But for the most part, like, my Hermione is dark-skinned, and she's very bushy, curly, beautiful hair. And she is... she's not just cookie cutter. Not everybody in Harry Potter to me is white, even though I'm a pale ass white girl. I'd like to imagine my Harry like with some, you know, from India, like Indian descent. You know, I like to imagine.
You showed me some fanfic drawings where he was kind of drawn.
Yeah, from Up the Hill art.
Yeah, that looked really good.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and she does Hermione Granger as person of color, and it's gorgeous. I appreciate that so much. I feel like there's not enough representation of other cultures in things. Like, you know, you read the Divergent series and everybody's basically white except for, I think, Zachariah.
Yeah.
And, you know, you go into all these book series, you go into the Mortal Instruments, everybody's white. Like, I just like to imagine that Harry Potter is just a mixing pot of cultures and colors and, you know, just people being people. I don't like to imagine that everybody is pale, you know, as me, because that's so boring. So, I don't know. That's how I imagine her. It's not really interesting. But
I remember when, whenever they released the cast pictures for Cursed Child, everybody, like, flipped their shit because they were like, Hermione's a black woman.
I was so happy.
And I was like, I like that.
I love that.
I thought that was good. And I thought the casting was great. Like, again, we haven't seen it. We haven't seen the show.
I thought everybody, like, looked amazing. I thought everybody, like... And, you know, you get to see little tiny snippets of things on the internet. And everybody so far that I've seen performed really well. Not to say that that is a great play. Yeah. But, no, find the fact that Hermione being black is amazing. It's empowering, you know? It's too much whitewashing around and people being so scared of something different.
Right.
You know? And Hermione can be anybody, in my personal opinion. She is every girl. The reason why you get into Hermione fan fiction is because you identify with her. Like, I feel like that's why people are drawn to Hermione Granger and those fan fictions, is because we all see a little bit of ourselves. I see, I remember when I was a kid, I was super, not to sound egotistical, I was super intelligent. I was forced to be in these extracurricular programs for gifted kids, and I didn't want to be in them, and because I was really artsy, and I didn't fit the mold of the smart girl. But people would get really mad at me whenever I wouldn't help them with their homework and stuff. And it was really hard being the smart girl, you know. So I identified with her in that sense that, you know, you kind of rub people the wrong way because you're the smart girl and you don't take shit. Like, she really pissed off Ron in the first book.
Yeah, well, she was a snobby bitch for the first good part of that book.
And that's why I identify with her so much. No, but like, she has flaws and she has emotions, you know, and I think that's something I really appreciate. Now, for people who love Ginny Weasley, I'm sure they see a little bit of themselves in her. People who, you know, read Luna fan fiction. I think it's all about seeing a little bit of who we are in that. So I think that Hermione Granger can be anybody that we want, and it shouldn't be just Emma Watson, even though she's brilliant. Right. Shouldn't be just her. I think you can imagine Hermione Granger however you want, as long as she's still that smart, strong, independent woman who wants to free house elves.
Yeah.
You know? I think that's okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, so last question.
Oh, boy, I remember this one.
Ron Weasley, love him or hate him?
Weasley is our king. If you couldn't guess by How to Train Your Auror, I love him, even though he's dead in that.
Yep.
I love him. Ron is every one of us. Let's not kid ourselves and pretend that none of us are Ron Weasley, because we all have a little bit of Ron Weasley inside of us. We all have a little bit of jealousy and a little bit of food loving and a little bit of I don't get the joke, but I'll continue to smile anyways. Like,
yeah, at least we forget. We all want to be Harry Potter, or we all want to be Hermione. Nobody are those two people. Everybody's Ron.
Everybody's Ron.
Everybody's Ron. Everybody is the one that's like, I got your back. I don't know what you're doing, but I got your back.
Yeah. A lot of people, like, they don't, they forget the good aspects of Ron. Everybody remembers when Ron left them in the 7th book. Right. But nobody, like, or when Ron got mad at Harry with the Goblet of Fire. And I'm like, he was 14, going through some puberty, going through some shit. His older brothers always had everything, and he always got the hand-me-downs, and he was always the pushover kid, you know. And
the movies kind of help. Yeah, people remember the movies more than they remember the books. And I'm not knocking the movies.
No, but
it's just like they couldn't character develop Ron as much as they had to do everybody else.
Right.
Of those three.
Right.
And
I feel like
even then, Harry still got more than everybody.
Ron is such a good guy. He, like, in the books, then they don't show this in the movie, but like in the books when they're stuck at the Malfoy Manor and they're trying to interrogate them, and they go down, they grab Hermione, and Ron like jumps in. He's like, no, take me instead. Like, he is all about self-sacrificing and caring about everybody else before himself. But everybody forgets that because they think of the movies and they don't think of the books.
Right.
Ron is just that lovable guy who wants to be there for you.
Yeah.
And if he feels like you're not in it the same way, then his feelings get hurt. And we can't lie to ourselves and say that if our best friend's name came out of the Goblet of Fire, that we'd instantly believe that they didn't do something.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, you sure?
Right.
Are you sure? And remember, he's 14 in this.
Yeah.
He's 14. He's not the brightest crayon in the box, Ron Weasley. So,
Right.
but he's got a big heart. And where Harry always jumps to conclusions and gets really angry and, pissy at everyone, Ron is actually really understanding of everyone's shit. It's just whenever he feels like he's been pushed aside and not let in on the situation is when he gets upset.
Yeah.
Which I think is completely understandable.
I remember there's a part in, I can't remember which book it is. I think it's the 5th one, where they're like, Harry, don't you? I could be wrong. But I think it's the part where Harry's like, oh man, Voldemort's got Sirius in wherever the prophecy room and all that shit.
Yeah.
And they're like,
And all that shit.
And Ron's like, Harry, don't you think you kind of have a saving people thing? Do you remember this part in the book?
Kinda, very vaguely. I don't know if you're quoting it exactly right, but I do remember that feeling of the book.
I know it's that phrasing.
Okay.
They call it a saving people thing, because I was like, there's not a word for that. Yeah, it's just kind of what you have to call it. And Harry's like, what are you talking about? And Hermione's like, yeah, you kind of have this thing where you feel you need to save everybody. Like, are you in this? And they did show the next part in the movie where they're like questioning, are you even sure that it was real, your nightmare or whatever? It's like, just because you saw it with Mr. Weasley doesn't mean it happened again. And Harry's like, I'm not just start saving people. Like, he just kind of gets it. But Ron was the first one to be like, look, I get it. You got some fucked up shit going around you every school year. It's a wonder you come to school. But are you sure you're not just jumping on this? And when I was reading that, I was like, shut up, Ron. But when you look back on it, it's like, from their point of view, he is always kind of having to go off and save people. And, look, he was wrong. Sirius wasn't in danger.
See, I think that's one thing. Ron is like somebody that is like everybody else, was always really awestruck with Harry Potter at the beginning, you know.
Yeah.
And Ron's just like, he is kind of awestruck, but at the same time, he's never afraid to call Harry out on what he thinks is his shit.
Yeah.
Even if Ron's off, he's not afraid to like tell Harry what he's thinking, and he's never afraid to piss off the chosen one, because really Ron has that respect for Harry that a lot of other people don't. A lot of other people are afraid to tell Harry Potter off in the books and in the movie. Like everybody kind of acts like douchebags quietly to Harry whenever the Goblet of Fire situation happens. But Ron isn't afraid to say, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Because he respects Harry as a human, and I think people forget that. And I do understand Ron and Hermione. I know a lot of people don't, but I get it, and this is why. Because she always has to be on her game. She always has to, be doing things and be the smart one and be on her shit. But with Ron, I feel like she doesn't have to. She feels like she can just crack a joke and relax. Yeah. And I feel like even if it was a bad joke, he would laugh at it because he just cares about her.
Yeah.
And if she blew up at him, like kind of like our relationship, if she blew up at him, he'd just be like, all right, that's fine. I'm sure he's so used to his mom blowing up at him so much that it would just be that situation, and he'd just be like, okay.
Oh, I never had a red-headed angry woman at me, yelling at me. Ooh.
Yeah. I've never had a woman yelling at me and telling me that I did something wrong. Man, so crazy. Like, Ron, while he does have a temper, I feel like he doesn't, like, as he gets older in the books, he doesn't have as much of a temper. He kind of is able to hold that in. I think the only reason he had that temper is because he always felt like he wasn't ever good enough.
Yeah.
But Hermione doesn't look at him and say, you're not good enough. She looks at him and just sees the fact that he sees life from a different point of view.
Yeah. Well, what's the oldest Weasley? Is it Bill or Charlie? Can never remember.
It's Bill, I think, and then Charlie.
All right,
I believe. Now, if I'm wrong, everybody's gonna kill me, but I don't dabble in Weasleys, so.
And which one's Strange Dragons?
Charlie.
And what's Bill do? He's an Auror?
Well, this is what I remember about Bill. Bill got scratched by the werewolf on his face. And
Okay.
It is the werewolf thing. And he
So,
mirrors floor.
I can't remember what Bill's job was because they say it at some point.
And then you have Percy, too.
Right,
Don't
but it's
forget
like,
Percy.
you have Bill, who's the oldest, who is, I guess you might
successful, marries a beautiful woman.
marries a freaking half-Vila woman, you know, and, like, I'm sure didn't fall for her charms, you know, like, he's just a good-looking guy.
And then you have Charlie, who trains dragons. And then you have Percy, who is super fucking smart. And then you have the twins, who are funny. And they're actually very intelligent.
Yeah, they're very smart. They follow their own set of rules, but they're not stupid.
Right,
in any
and
way.
then you have...
They know they're outcasts, but they don't care.
Yeah.
They're happy that way.
Right. And then you have Ginny, who's sporty. Like,
Yeah.
Ginny's like, you know, to me, she's always like, people think of her and they're just like, oh, she's so washed up, you know, because in the movies. But to me, she's the jock. She's
Right.
the jock girl who, like, if she was a muggle, she'd probably run track or play basketball.
Right, like-
and that would be her life.
Yeah, like, and Fred and George also, they play Quidditch. They're on the team. Ginny gets, I can't remember. I think she gets on the team before Ron even does.
Yeah, I'm pretty
in the
sure.
books. And Ron, they did it in the movie. You know, he's kind of like
He's not
awkward.
the best.
He's not the best.
He's not the best at anything.
No.
That's what I think what makes Ron so great is that he's every single one of us. He's like, you're not going to be this amazing spellcaster. I feel like if all of us went to Hogwarts, we'd have one good niche. His good niche is chess, wizard's chess.
Yeah.
Which I'm disappointed he didn't grow up to be a wizard's chess champion.
Right, or something. I know that his story kind of his epilogue kind of petered out. That's like probably my only complaint is that he was just like,
and he started to crack. All right, I've come to the conclusion that the reason he cracks so many bad jokes in Cursed Child is because he's a dad now, and he has dad jokes. He's like got the dad brain, and he's like, no, I've got really good jokes. You want to hear them? And everybody's like, no. So even though I don't write Ron and Hermione together as long term, I do see why they had a good potential. They have a good friendship. They have years of it. I think that they would probably have to have counseling because I feel like he would do too many things wrong or not catch on to things, and she would eventually get tired of explaining herself all the time.
yeah,
So I think that's why they wouldn't work out in the long run.
right.
But I think they'd have a first, like, good 5 years of marriage
Yeah,
until it became really tedious.
yeah.
And, yeah, Ron is great. So there's my answer.
I liked how you wrote him in How to Train Your Auror.
Thank you.
Was it the second one?
Second one where
Okay,
we
so
get to...
They go in the mirror.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we get to see a different version if he were alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really liked that part because I thought because in the again we're not even talking about a canon book series technically, but I don't care. I really like the whole story, and like we don't even see Ron. Like if we see him in a flashback scene in the first one, and I thought you wrote him right, great, even though it was just the one scene.
Yeah.
And then in the second one, we get like a whole chapter or two.
We get like 2 chapters of him. Now the one chapter is like half a chapter, and then
Right.
the other one is like the full chapter
Yeah.
of him.
And all of that was great. Like I thought you wrote like, okay, if this is Ron and this is this situation Ron is in, this is how he would react. And I totally believe that like everything how he reacted is how I believe JK would have written that, you know.
Because I think Ron, when he grew up, he has a big sense of family and heart, and he did learn how to sacrifice and do the right thing, even if it meant it hurt.
Right.
Like,
least we forget, he did become a Harry Potter doppelganger in the beginning of Deathly Hallows, knowing he could totally die on the way to Grimmauld. What's the place?
Grimmauld Place.
Grimmauld, yeah. Grimmauld. Grimmauld Place. Like he knew he could die. Everybody there did, but like least we forget, he was probably the first one to say yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, whose idea was it? Was it Ron? Whose idea
It
was
was.
it?
I don't remember.
I can't remember whose idea it was to do it.
You act
I may not have said it in the movie.
You act
but
like I remember stuff.
you read these books more recently than I have. But
Oh, I don't remember details like that. But no, like Ron totally would sacrifice himself or step up. And I think the big thing is everybody thinks that just because Ron isn't intelligent, that means he's not smart. And he
Right.
is smart. He's just not intelligent.
Yeah.
He may not know the way to say Leviosa.
right.
But what he lacks in courage and what he lacks in tact, he has in heart. And I feel like he would do anything for Hermione.
Yeah.
I legit feel that way. I feel like he's loved her for so long that he, like when I read fics about him like hurting her or abusing her or anything like that, that just squicks me out.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't see him ever laying a hand on her.
Right.
I could see Ron getting so mad he'd punch a wall.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the next day he'd be getting some spackling and fixing that and
Yeah.
like doing it the muggle way to try to make up for what he
Trying to
did.
impress her, it's just a giant glob on the wall. She's like, thank you, but we're going to just, there we go.
Yeah. Like I think he has a big heart, and I think most people forget that, which is sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's my answers. Sorry this was so long and awkward, and I hope everybody...
An hour and 8 minutes.
Oh boy, so
There
exciting.
you go.
Yay. Well, there's my answers to the questions. I hope everyone enjoyed. It was a lot easier to talk to my husband about this.
Yay.
And the fact that you actually like my writing,
I do.
that makes me so happy. Like,
I know.
I'm cheese
And every
grinning.
time I tell you, and you're like, I'm like, I love you. Of course I love your writing. And you're like, you love me. That's why I can't trust your opinion.
It's true. How can I trust the people who are closest to me? Of course they're not going to hurt my feelings. They're going to be like, no, everything you do is beautiful and lovely and blah, 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 blah.
Everything you do is beautiful and lovely.
Blah, 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 blah. No. See, here's the thing. We all say that, we want honesty, but if you were like, I feel like your writing is shit, I'd probably be like, thank you for your opinion. And then I'd go and cry in a corner for an hour. But at the same time, I do want that honesty, and I do want to hear that it's shit, because I'd come out an hour later and be like, what could I have done better?
Come out and be like, well, fuck you. Here's the amazing version. I didn't say that. I didn't say it was shit.
But no, it's one thing. I remember I gave you a lot of grief at the beginning when you were reading the How to Train Your Aura things, because if you didn't talk about it the next day, because I'd go to bed and then you'd read the chapter, and if you didn't talk about it the next day, I would think that you thought it was shit, and so I'd just be like, and I just sit there and I would stare at my computer and be like, what are words? I can't word. Apparently everything I do is terrible. And then you'd start to talk about it and I'd be like, no, it's okay. No, we don't have to talk about it. Because I'd be like, he hates my writing. He hates it. He hates it. So to hear that you're like, no, I love that story. It's like, oh, he doesn't have any taste at all.
I do.
No, you just love me. That's your problem.
I do love you, but I also have taste.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
See, this is why those trolls can't affect me anymore, because I've realized that they really do legit hate me, and I hate me. So really, we should just yo, anonymous troll, hit me up. We can have a whole conversation about how shitty I am.
Let's talk shop about how I suck. Come on, let's do this.
I think I know me better than you know me. I'm sure you'd like to hear some skeletons in my closet,
You want to hate me more, but you didn't know this story.
Yeah, right? But I feel like if somebody's going to hate me, they need to, be upfront and say, this is who I am, and this is why I hate you, instead of just hiding behind a little anonymous screen.
Right, but again, that's the internet.
It's the internet. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. I hope that you didn't hate my interview. If you did, I'll just go cry in a corner for an hour and come back and ask what I could have done better. But now you've gotten to talk to Mrs. Benzedrine.
Thanks.
Thank you, my husband Chris, for doing this with me and making it a lot easier.
You're welcome. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, friend.
Oh, friend.
I love you.
I love you too.
Oh,
No.
you're so obnoxious.
No, you're so cute.
Oh, before we get off,
Ah.
He's got like the biggest cheesy smile on his face. Like, yeah. I have to tell this story that when we went to, was it St. Louis? Yeah, because we saw the arch, and we were going under the arch to go into the little past the security guy, and and we were like loving on each other, and the security officer was like, "Oh," and it's like, yeah, we're a cute couple, like we're that obnoxious couple, and we really are.
We really are.
So you're an inspiration for most of my stories. Yay!
Even the dirty ones.
Even the dirty ones. Wow, you just had to throw that in there, didn't you?
I did. Okay, stop.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for listening. Chris, thank you for joining me.
Oh, Chris, it was fun.
Yeah, I love you.
Love you too.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.